Onside, 92, Kanagata! South African side then, showing a lot of familiarity, but they are fortunate.
Inside Sportcast.
Hey, my brother, it's been, what, 2 years?
Yeah, almost 2 years, yeah.
1.5.
Yeah.
1.5 years. Yeah, it's been a minute. Man. How have you been?
Oh, well, surviving. They say surviving is winning, so been surviving. But
yeah, plus, you look at everything that's been happening with the climate, with the economy.
yeah,
We just have to survive.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, man, thanks for coming through. It's a pleasure having you in studio. So you can just take us on, by telling us who you are and where you're from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, firstly, thanks for having me once again.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to come through here, no matter the distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Buang Mokgethi, young man from Carltonville, born and bred in Carltonville, head of football and cricket at Wits University. And yeah, my story is pretty much probably going to unfold. But yeah, so I think I've been around the sporting industry for how long now? I think since I was in grade 6, basically, in terms of the managing side of staff, from a very young age.
What, in your primary school?
Yeah, when I was in primary already, there was a club that we formed already. There was the 3 of us.
Oh, nice.
And by then, I think I managed the funds of it back then.
Yep.
Obviously being that pain people, hey, you must pay up, all those kind of things. But yeah, it was for a good cause. And eventually I fell in love with sports.
And what was that? Was that a soccer team?
Yeah. So back then, yeah, it was a football team. I think it was, like I said, it was just the 3 of us when it started. We were just sitting by the corner one day and we just decided, after an athletics training session, like, why don't we just start our own soccer team instead of playing this two-palo every now and then? And then we just met up with some other hot man.
Yeah.
And then he just so happened to be passionate about football and was like, I've never coached, but I think I can make something out of you.
You can make something out of it.
And then we just brought all the people that we used to play two-palo with, and then we just formed a team. And then obviously, with our lady being an educator, you have to balance your books as well.
Yes.
And then eventually, after a long argument, I decided that no, I'm heading in the sports direction.
Going into the sports direction, yeah. So let's just take it back a bit. So you being involved in soccer, being able to run, the football club, from a very young age. So that led you into then studying sports management.
100.
Yes, and you did that with
ETA College.
With the ETA College, or that focuses directly
on
sports management. Yes, and what are sort of the lessons that you've taken, from college, in terms of the technical aspect of the game, of the sport?
Yeah, there are a lot of takings there. One, I have to say, I'm very happy with the decision that I made back then. Even though at the time it was more like, you're not sure why you go in this route. And then I just decided, no, I want to go there. It was one of those career days when I was in matric back at Carlton Jones High School.
Yep.
And then ETA was there. And then at that time, Gordon Egerson was a big thing here in South Africa at the time.
With Super Sports.
Yeah, so at the time he was very big, and they told us he was also looming to Bafana at the time. And then it was a thing of like, no, the moment they said he also went through that route, he did coaching science, but I knew I wanted the business side of sports.
Yes.
Which is through management as well. So from there on, after that career day at school, I think even there at school, everyone knew that I'm heading in that direction because I was a football fan at the time. Playing football, trying to go pro, as everyone does. The bridge is very narrow there, so
it is, yeah.
Not everybody will make it in terms of being a player. Yes, sustained an injury, but I still think even though I had gone all the way, I don't think I would have went all the way. My calling was basically, the business side of sports.
the business side of
And
sport.
then for me, that was a game changer. At ETA, I can definitely say, as much as I was there for quite some time, but there was this one module I can say. There's nothing really to do with sports, but it was just that one module that stood out for me. And I think up until today, it's still ringing at the back of my mind in terms of who I am, in terms of my personnel.
Yeah.
It's emotional intelligence.
Okay. In sports.
Yeah, in general and in life and in sports as well. How do you apply it?
So looking at an individual.
Yeah. So basically, if you can't control your emotions, especially in sports, your emotions are everything there.
Very
if you can't
important.
control your emotions, they'll control you. So I think that's one thing that I can say it stood out for me in terms of my college. Yes, there's a lot of other things that I learned in terms of business plan, running a facility, running an organization, drafting constitutions, all those kind of things.
Got you.
But I still say that one module, it wasn't even long. I think it was a 2-week module.
Yeah.
But it stood out for me out of the 3 years that, emotional intelligence is something that I think it should be mandatory for everyone.
A requirement.
Not just something that is a by the way. Because when you interact with people as you go on in life, you realize actually if someone just had that, if everyone had that, we'd actually interact in a different way and we can actually get to where you want to be quicker.
Most definitely.
As much as we may have the ideas and the plans, it's also how you implement it.
No, definitely. So taking it back to what you just said regarding you going pro and it being a very narrow line, because I remember myself, I played for a couple of professional clubs such as Highlands Park, your Kaizer Chiefs development, trialed for Wits, and I didn't go through.
So there wasn't there, my man.
Corinthians, Corinthians play cases as well,
Yeah.
and the plan was always to go professional,
Yeah.
but it's a very, like as you say, it's a very narrow, and that gets me into my next question. What do you think are the technical requirements, or attributes needed from an individual that can help, the young upcoming players into going professional? What do you think is important technically, or how can they apply themselves?
Yeah.
Regard.
So one, I have to say, it starts with development. I think with us, where we come from, we got developed at a later stage. You got exposed to high performance setups at a later stage in life.
Yep.
And I think if it starts earlier, if your development in a particular sporting code, they say you need 10,000 hours to be in a particular sporting code to be good.
Yes.
Not to say you'll make it, but just to be good and to perfect it. And then from thereafter, there's talent and then there's hard work. But hard work always beats talent when talent is not working hard enough.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you need to work hard as much as you're talented.
Yep.
And if you're not talented, if you're a hard worker, guarantee you'll make it. You'll make it. But
Definitely.
like I said, I had a conversation not so long ago with Dr. Jomasono.
Yeah.
He had said to me straight, he's like, everyone wants to be a footballer, especially when you're playing at that age.
Yes.
And you want to go pro. But that bridge is very narrow. The bridge is very narrow and not everyone makes it across. So what makes it special about you that you can be different from the rest? So discipline is one. Obviously integrity, that's another thing that I put way up there. And then obviously building your character in terms of who you are, your persona. And then technical attributes, obviously that comes from the coaching that you're exposed to when you're growing up. But I still say,
and I think willing to learn as well.
Yeah, the willingness to learn. You never stop learning, actually.
Indeed, yeah.
I think even when we'll be 60, 70, 80, you'll still be learning from someone who's probably 20 at the time. Because obviously the world is evolving, there's new ideas, and there's a lot of things going on. But I still say now, every time when I even go out to recruit, or when I even tell my coaches when go out to recruit, is that let's try and make educated athletes a norm and not an exception.
Yes.
So that it can broaden their scope in terms of their opportunities.
Yes.
So now imagine you're great in football, you're great in cricket, you're great in rugby, and then you still balance it with you're also great academically.
Yeah.
So you can actually use sports to actually pave the way for your academics. And then once you have that degree or a master's or honors, and then you can then still pursue your career in sports. In SA, not everyone will make it at the age of 18, 19, like in Europe.
That's very true. Yeah.
So you still have that from 18, 19, 20, 21. What are you doing with your life there? Don't just play football.
Yep.
Go study. Go to an institution. Go to university. Go to a college. Whatever the case may be, you can actually still make it, but also have the degree. Like I said, 100%. I think once when I came through, I said there was a player that I know. He got his honors degree, and then he got signed by a particular big club in the PSL.
Yes.
One season when it was time for renewal, he got an offer in terms of his career path academically wise, and then he went back to his club and he said, "Okay, my career, they're giving me this much. They give me this offer.
Yeah.
Can you match it? If you match it, I'm gonna stay."
Cards on the table.
And then at the time, it was now you're negotiating with a different person.
Yeah.
It's not someone who's illiterate and someone who can be like, no, he loves football, he needs football, come, we'll give you 10,000 or whatever the case may be. But it was a thing of, I put an offer here based on my academics and I have a choice to make now.
Yeah.
So now you have options that, do I go this way or do I go this way? And then they saw the offer and they were like, we can't afford that. And he didn't even hesitate. He left football. Went straight with his career. Right now, everything is sorted for his life.
It's quite important, and it's quite very important. So you're currently the head of sport, the head of
football and cricket
at Wits University.
Yeah.
So how does your technical team structure look like? So are you in charge of recruiting the technical team, or assembling that? And you can just take us through that.
So basically, it's because it's an institution. There's various aspects of it. They are both high performance clubs.
Yes.
And then when you structure your technical team, obviously it's well within the needs of the institution and the club in itself to operate.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'll take cricket, for example. My cricket structure is obviously you'll have a head coach, you'll have an assistant coach, and then you'll have a club manager.
Okay.
So, obviously, all admin-related stuff, it will be done through the club manager and myself.
100%.
And then the technical aspects, the coaching, that will be done through the strength and conditioning coach, and then also the assistant coach and the head coach.
Yes.
They're in charge of recruitment. And then obviously I made it a thing that it's not only the head coach's role to recruit. It's also the manager's role to recruit. It's also the assistant. It's also my role to recruit.
Okay.
So recruitment, if once you make it, no, it's only one person who's responsible for recruitment, then you're putting a burden on that person. How many times do you go through maybe a weekend where you go various sports at a high school level,
yes,
and then you identify talent?
That's very true.
It doesn't mean I can't go and approach, and then
you get to lose touch of talent as well.
100%.
Because I feel like talent is seen, by in different aspects, in different ways.
Yeah, so that's why when you gather around and sit around the table, it's good to have different opinions. When you disagree, it's not always an argument. It's sometimes it's okay, but maybe we can look at it in this way. So the technical team that you assemble, I think, is very important. If they're in sync, they get along, they understand the project, we understand the program, and we understand that we also serve in the institution
100%.
to the best of our ability. It's basically when we recruit student athletes. We look at your marks, and then we also look at your talent.
Okay.
And then if your marks are lacking, right there and there, whether you're in grade 10 or 11, we'll tell you straight there that, listen, at the rate that you're going at, you won't make it into Wits University.
Yes.
This is what you need to improve on.
Okay.
If you need assistance, our technical teams, even in football, some are in the auditing space and whatnot. So if someone needs mentoring, we even mentor at no charge in terms of...
So that is upon application or once the students are already with the institution?
No, recruitment starts very, very early. At grade 10 already.
Okay.
You're already grooming and okay, this one will replace this star that has just arrived in the institution right now, who's the first year.
Yeah.
So as much as you're focusing on this first year, you give him like 3-4 years at the institution, and then they're going to move on to the next big thing in their life, whether it's their career-wise after their degree, or whether their sporting achievements actually excel and then they go the professional route.
Yep.
However, we always tell them rather leave the institution with a degree so that you can have an option. It takes one bad injury. It takes one bad injury and then you're back and now you can't go anywhere.
We've had in the
frustrated.
country quite a number of cases when that happened. Look at the ex-Kaizer Chiefs DDC team player,
Meiwa.
It was unfortunate for him. So it's important. Education is very important.
It's very important. So we also have an academic support psychologist. So when we recruit, they also meet and sit down with the parent, and then they can then tell you that, okay, currently with your marks and what you are studying, you can study in these fields. And then already you know the APS that you need to work to.
And the psychologist is in the structure of the clubs of the vet sport.
So it's accessible to all our high performance clubs. So that's football, cricket, rugby, basketball, netball, and hockey.
So the structure in terms of the technical team, how it looks, it's the same with the soccer.
So it's the same with football. Each to its own. With football, you'll have an analyst as well. Obviously in cricket now also that is becoming a big thing as well.
Because I know now most teams even have video analysts.
So you need an analyst, you need a head coach, assistant coach, team manager,
technical director.
In that space, that will be me.
The
head coach of the club. And then you need, obviously, like I said, team manager, and then also a kid manager as well. It does get hectic in terms of certain competitions that we play in. For example, football. Wits University is currently playing in the ABC Multiple League.
I'm well aware. I think you guys are first?
No. We're currently 8th now. The season is about to wrap up.
Who's first? Highlands?
Highlands
Park.
So the top three, it's tricky up there. It's tricky at the top. So it's Highlands Park, it's Gomora, and also La Masia. So all of them are well within reaching goal there. And then obviously if they go to the playoffs, whichever team goes to the playoff represents obviously Gauteng. And then they make the finals there, they get promoted to the professional setup, which is NFD.
And then in terms of Wits University as an institution, what is the mandate and what is your guys' plan? What do you guys plan? Do you plan 15 years ahead in terms of what do you want to see the sports aspect evolving into?
So obviously we want to see our clubs in a high performance environment. We're currently there. But you need resources, you need capacity to reach certain things and certain levels. So we currently understand, everyone is aware of where we are currently, and we all know where we want to get to. For example, we take football. We want to head straight back into the PSL. But now there's two ways to go about it.
Which is...
You go and buy, and then you go and buy, poor planning, you get relegated quickly.
In terms of status.
And you're losing millions if that's the case. Or do we invest in currently what we have, and then we work our way all the way to the top?
Which was quite upsetting to see in 2018.
2020.
When they sold the Vets status. Because
COVID.
I personally believe that you guys had one of the best teams at the time by Gavin Hunt, which competed for almost everything and was very much competitive even in the CAF Champions League as well. And it would be very intriguing, to see an institution such as Vets. I think it was very important for football as a whole in the country. And
100%.
You looked at, I grew up in the inner city. You had quite a lot of young men, who would get, the accessibilities of your guys' facilities in Mill Park. It was very important in terms of sports development. So it would be very interesting.
So it is the plan. We do want to see ourselves back there at the top. We will get there. The only question is when. So what people don't understand, a lot of people thought when Wits was sold, there was normal football at Wits University.
Yes.
But what was sold, it was just the PSL status. All the development structure remains. I mean, we've got a junior club from under 6 to under 19.
Okay.
And then obviously at the university, we've got student teams. So at SAB level for the men and also ABC. And then we also have a women's structure.
Yes, which is, I was about to get into
so
that,
our women's structure, they're currently playing the Sasol League. There we want to get into the Hollywood League, which is the professional side of football here in South Africa.
Okay.
In terms of women's football,
And it's quite new.
yeah,
So it's quite a new structure.
Yeah, it's quite,
They're
it's
still
quite,
finding their
quite new
feet.
based on funding as well.
Yep.
But when you look at the structure and that league, universities will actually survive more than certain clubs as well.
Yep.
Because of the structure that we have in terms of the resources. I mean, the facilities as well. A lot of clubs are renting out facilities and all that. But it's different when you have your own.
Yep.
It's different when you have your own in terms of an operational budget. You don't have
100%.
to hire a facility. Instead, that money can go into recruitment and in terms of growing the club in itself. So also there's also development level. And we also still cater for our students. So we always fight for a 70-30%, 70% being students
Okay.
in our team, both men and women. And then obviously from there on, we then recruit the other 30% to make up for the quality and the level of play that we're in.
100%.
Because most of the times you look at the student span, it's first year, second year, third year.
Yes.
Then fourth year, it's are they coming back?
Are they coming back or not? Yeah.
Or that. So you always need to have a new cycle.
Yeah.
But women's football is growing
Massively.
and it's a space that I'm really, really happy to see grow like that. And I believe if the same investment were to be put in as well, as much as it's put into the men's structure of football,
Yes.
if the same focus can also be given to women's football, listen, our women's national team can be also on another level.
On another level,
We've
which
seen
is
glimpses.
they currently
What we're seeing is glimpses of the potential we can actually reach.
yes, because they're currently doing well on a national
Yeah.
but my worry has always been on a development
Yeah.
level, on a grassroots level. To what extent are structures that are in place currently, to what extent are they investing in them? And, in terms of the infrastructure, making sure that they're ready, they develop well, etc. So in terms of your women's team, because I'm aware you had trials recently.
Yeah.
And how is it the same structure in terms of recruitment? You do the same.
It's the same structure. So obviously the first batch of trials,
Yep.
it's the open. So
Yes.
it's open trials. Where we're looking for just for talent.
Yes.
To add on to what we have. If obviously someone is better than what we have currently, and they meet our criteria in terms of recruitment, and then obviously we rope them in. And then the second batch of trials is strictly students. So that's where we see, okay, when we go to competitions like USA and varsity football,
Yes.
where you're competing with strictly students, who do we have and what pool? Sometimes you might have missed someone that you did not see coming from the Northern Cape or something like that.
Yep.
And then they just came to study. And then you find out, hey, there's a gem right here, and it's the first year or second year. And then you rope them in, and then it changes their experience of the university as well. Now they're experiencing the university not only academically, but then with the sport that they love as well.
Yep.
So it goes the same with all sporting coaches, not just football and cricket, but netball has it. And then those who are not ready or not good enough, and then we then refer you to the internal league. So when we refer you to the internal league, then you know that there are various residences that compete in those leagues. And then we continue scouting further throughout the year there, where it's strictly students. And then if you find a gem in there, you promote them to your senior teams, for both men and women.
And do you have a scouting structure as well?
Yeah.
Within the women's team?
Within the women's team.
Okay.
So also right now, both our men and women finished third in the Pirates Cup.
Okay.
Tournament.
Yes. That played last
weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, so both of them, the men and women, finished third, which is massive when you look at our players that we use there, we basically use very young players. It's an under 21 tournament.
Yep.
So when you look at our structure, you're looking at first year, second year, third year students that are actually competing there in terms of preparation for varsity football, which is coming up in August as well.
Yep.
So there's a lot of football happening at an institution than just an ordinary club, because you're not focusing on one competition. You're focusing on USA, which is against all institutions, the national competition, and then there's also varsity football. And then we also got invited to World Elite University Football Tournament in China.
Oh, lovely.
But now when we look at it, it's just a month before varsity football. So now we're at that point where we need to make a decision. Do we go to China and then come back?
Yep.
Will we have fresh legs for varsity football?
Varsity football, yeah.
Because we also want to do well from the men's side. They've been out of varsity football, I think, for 2 years.
Okay.
But now recently in December when we went to
And
USA and Kimberley.
what
we're
was
back in
that
varsity
to-
football. Remember at USA, it's 20 institutions competing in A section.
Okay.
You need to make top 8 of the tournament to make it into the following year's varsity football. So
Interesting.
we've always, I think the previous year we lost out by 1 goal difference.
Is it? So
then
it's
the
it's
previous-
more of a league.
Yeah, it's a
structure.
tournament.
It's a tournament.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
tournament, not really a league. Leagues, it's all our SAFA competitions, which is your ABC,
Regional, yeah.
SAB, and then also from the women's side, your SASO,
Yes.
and RCLFA regional.
Oh, yes.
LFA and regional, SAFA regional as well.
And I think Northern.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
And it's interesting how they've still kept, the leagues the same, across the years. They haven't changed much as well.
Yeah, it can't really change that much.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a structure, it's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's
And do you believe, in terms of the hierarchy, the structure, what's currently in place, do you think to a certain extent, does it really prepare our players to compete high level? And because I think the objective at the end of the day is, the national team.
Yeah.
Do you think it prepares with what we've seen along the years?
To be honest,
Especially with
Yeah.
with just how the sport is evolving in a technical aspect. I mean, you go overseas in England, they evolve with the years, they evolve with the technology.
yeah,
You get currently now the VAR is slowly coming into our country.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just with VAR, as much as we may bring VAR,
Yeah.
our officials ready to handle VAR.
Yes.
That's another thing. So obviously, if you provide training first for our officials to be able to operate VAR, and then from there on we move and say, okay, now we can implement it.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be a jump of, oh, there's VAR available now, let's jump to
Let's jump into
VAR.
it.
But
Yeah.
meanwhile, we haven't prepared our officials to operate VAR and,
Yeah.
and be effective with it.
Yeah,
So
because it's
that's
huge technology.
Yeah.
On
So when you look at it, it's first that I would also be honest that when you look at Europe and you look at SA, we're quite far, guys. We're quite far in terms of where we are with technology, where we are with you see it in different clubs that certain clubs have the capacity.
Yeah.
Mamelodi Sundowns. I mean, last night they made it to
final.
the finals.
Yeah.
I was praying for an all South African final.
The
but unfortunately
Pirates.
the Pirates
Yeah.
narrowly lost there. But when you look at those two clubs and also Kaizer Chiefs in the mix as well, they're very much well resourced and they're very much close to having what we need to get there. But imagine a league where everyone is at that standard.
Yeah.
The resources are there.
Yeah.
How we manage clubs, because when you look at the PSL even now, it's a well run league.
And I think
When you look at it on a continental
Yes.
stage,
it is. So I think we
PSL is
currently
way
the
up
best in
there
the
at top.
continent.
Yeah, it's way up there in the top. So it shows to have two clubs in the semi-finals of CAF. It's
CAF
huge.
Champions
It's
League.
huge.
100%.
But when you look at it in terms of national team and an international stage, we're still very far from the likes of maybe like a Barcelona,
Yeah.
for example. Lamine Yamal, how old is he?
Yeah.
Kubasi, how old is he?
Yeah.
They're 17 and they're already up there playing week in, week out for their clubs. Not as we are giving you game time, 45 minutes,
45
and then out,
minutes.
we're introducing you. No.
Yeah.
They take the risk, they throw you there.
Yeah.
But they take the risk because the player is prepared
Yes.
and development has
And do you think that
taken place, yeah.
that came from their respective club
From the respective clubs.
development?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you look at Germany, how they set up and how they play.
Yep.
You look at Italy, how they play. In the league, you can tell how their national team plays.
Then do you then think, in terms of you getting to a level of readiness with your as an administrative department, and just making sure the entire team is up to date with standards, what do? Do you set up workshops? Or you guys go through such
So there's various workshops that go around. Clubs host workshops.
Yes.
SAFA also hosts workshops. And then obviously silly coaching courses. Even administrators need to do coaching courses.
Yeah.
I mean, I just did mine now last year.
Are you currently on?
D.
Okay.
I'm going all the way. But
To UEFA
I
Pro.
don't have any ambition to be a coach.
Yes.
But I need to understand what they are doing.
The aspect of
and
the game.
aspect of the game.
100%.
It doesn't help me just having, I have my master's degree and whatnot and whatever, honors, PhD. But then from a technical perspective, you actually don't understand what they're doing.
What's happening?
When an SNC comes and tell you about a muscle injury and they call it with their own name, whatever, they say, okay, there's a glute and then there's that. You can't be like, what is that? And
Yes.
whatnot. You also need to know, okay, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Because how do you manage someone, or rather a club, and you don't understand those dynamics of it? You need to speak the same language to your SNC as he understands it, and you need to speak the same language to your team manager.
Yes.
As he also understands it. So it's very complex. When you upskill yourself, it's not necessarily just in what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
As an SNC, one day you won't be an SNC. You'll probably be running the club.
100%.
Then what? You need to have the administrative knowledge as well. So it's basically everyone, and how we structure also our technical team is that everyone is aware of what role Putero is doing, what role Coach Dalo is doing, Spacey is doing, and then once you understand that, you can then understand that the reason why Putero is saying no to this, you also understand why. It's not just no. Why? Because I say so. No, it's giving reason, and then also giving understanding that it may be a no for now because we don't have this yet.
Yes.
But then it'll be a yes later. But if you don't understand what the person next to you is doing, then you'll always look at it like, but I'm doing a lot, they're not doing a lot.
Yep.
So you need to understand your colleagues' scope of work, and then they also need to understand yours.
100%.
So you can be in sync and be able to respect each other in that same environment.
And I know with the Wits University, you guys have over 20 sporting codes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we have over 20.
And in terms of just you as an administrative role, with cricket and soccer, do you then, sometimes go, watch a rugby game, and maybe liaise with the, administration, from the other sporting codes in terms of what do they do, how, do they keep in touch, what are the trends, what's just
100%.
to kind of, because as much as it's multiple sports across, but the mandate is the same for the university at large.
So to break it down, remember there's high performance clubs.
Yes.
Which is those ones that I mentioned: your football, cricket, rugby, netball, hockey, and basketball.
Yeah.
So that's your high performance clubs, and then there's your competitive clubs. There you'll get your volleyball, competitive swimming.
Yes.
And then you'll get your recreational, where people just do it for leisure. You'll learn to swim. Social swimming, and learn to play tennis, those kind of things. So all our sporting codes are beginner friendly. So in our coaching structures, in our technical teams, we have designated coaches for beginners.
Okay.
And we have structures, if you don't have coaches, for beginners.
Yes.
They train on a different day. For example, I know Learn to Swim is on Monday to Wednesday.
Okay.
And then in terms of interacting with each other, as sports officers, so at a university level, heads of clubs, it's a sports officer.
Yeah.
So we sit down, we share ideas regularly. I mean, it was Varsity Cup rugby right now. I think I attended all 4 home games that we played at Wits, and you see a different aspect of it when you're at the game. It can be a small thing in terms of how particular their strength and conditioning coaches are.
Yes.
As compared to football.
Yep.
Where in rugby, if there's an injury, you can run on immediately. You don't need to wait for the referee to call you in. And then in football, it's different. You need to wait for the referee to call you in. And then you learn different things and how they operate and how they run. And you can implement in your own scope of work. I mean, how they prepare preseason can be similar to football.
Yeah.
That okay, you go on camp, you do this, and then obviously you have your itinerary for the entire preseason and whatnot. And then you can also just share ideas there and there. When you have varsity competitions, you look at how their Varsity Cup is ran, and then you can take certain things and implement it in yours.
Yes.
I went to the Pirates Cup tournament just to go and view their setup, even though I've been there a couple of times, but just something will spark you. I'm like, oh, okay, they did this different this year. And then I'm the tournament director for Engine Tournament, which is going to be in July.
Oh, yes.
So then I'm like, okay, that means I can actually suggest this and that. Then when I get there, we didn't even take time. The week after Paris Cup, we had that meeting and I told them, no, listen, they did this differently this year. That's the only thing. So I think we should just take that in order for us to be better organized and whatnot. Always looking to improve the tournament, whatever the case may be. You go to various tournaments. You go to a tournament Kokasi, and then you see, okay, they're doing it well, but it doesn't help you just staying with information. So I called the tournament director of that tournament. I'm like, you did well and whatnot, but I'm just saying,
this is how you
do this, but I'll show you. Instead, I'm going to invite you to the Engine Tournament. So you can just observe, just to come and observe and see how the tournament run. And then when you get back to the community, you can then take that knowledge and then implement it. So it's all about sharing knowledge. It doesn't help grasping all the knowledge and then you want to sit there with all the knowledge. We're not here forever.
100%.
Share the knowledge, and then if someone becomes better than you, you did well. You did well. If they can run a tournament better than you, you did well. You did well. Don't look at things like no one can run a better tournament than me. Groom people.
No, definitely.
To change the world, you need to change one person. And then you'll be happy. You'll be blessed if you change 20, 30, 40 lives.
And then in terms of the students themselves at the university, how do you think sports enhances the experience with the journey in the years?
Academics is stressful, my brother. Especially at Wits University. I mean, the minimum APS is 36 to get in there. It's tough to get in there. And then they still need to maintain their academics so that they don't lose their bursaries. And they still need to maintain their sporting achievements. But they also use sport to de-stress from academics. And how we structure our sporting programs, it happens after your classes. So it doesn't clash with any of your classes. So
even within the games.
Even within. And when it's exam season, we know, okay, we need to lessen the load. Because if they're tired, it'll show academically. And we know they won't give us 100% on the pitch because they're thinking about that exam. So now you monitor the load as well.
An admin level, there's a lot to actually consider. And
there's a lot going on all at once. Like everything is happening all at once. And it just takes you to drop the ball once and so that's why it's very important, like I said earlier, if I know what he's doing, I know what she's doing. When you're going through a tough space and I know that there's a lot going on in your space, maybe things are more quiet on my side, but it's more hectic on your side. I can then come through and be like, let me assist and whatnot. I can't be there and be like, that's your role. No, I'm the head of football, head of cricket. I can't be doing that. No. If your load is hectic, let me be there.
Exactly.
That's the culture I want wherever I work. Don't have that thing of this is my role, this is my job. Don't be a boss, be a leader.
At the end of the day, cultures bring excellence. They
100%.
build success within clubs, 100%. Within teams.
And if you don't have that culture, if it's baseless,
because we normally say, with Kaizer Chiefs, there was once a culture. Was there that brought success. Right now with Sundowns, they have a culture of making it to the toppest level.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes behind.
Yeah, there's
that.
a lot that
of
goes
planning.
behind.
Yeah,
Even like it's not that there was a culture.
Yeah.
It's still there.
it's still there.
It's still there. It's just that right now they're going through a phase.
Yes.
They're going through a phase. Yes, it's taking long.
Yeah.
But when you look at the professionalism of that club, my man,
Yeah.
at a development level,
Yeah.
just to start it off,
Yeah.
at a development level, Kaizer Chiefs is on another level. It's on another level. I don't want to lie. We've got a good relationship with the various clubs, especially in Gauteng, because they give us some of their young players to come and study by us. They may play by them, maybe a GDL or TDC. Then come Varsity Football and USA. Then they represent us, the university. So it's Orlando Pirates, it's Kaizer Chiefs, TS Galaxy now.
Yes, and credit to TS Galaxy as well for.
They're doing well. They're training there by us,
Team
by the
Suzuki.
way.
Oh, is it?
At Wits University, yes.
Okay.
But it's good. Even their women's team.
Yes.
We even have some of our women's players playing for TS Galaxy, and then come USA, they come play by us. So
that's amazing.
It's a good relationship. It's complex. The university sports is a bit complex, but once you get a hang of it, you then get to understand its importance. That's why I always say we must be a generation that thrives for educated athletes to be a norm and not be an exception. Because now, if someone is excellent in sport, it's quick to think, that means books, IDU.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. It should be, it
Definitely.
goes hand in hand. Because if you're taking instruction from the coach, that means in class as well, how you listen attentively, it will also affect
Matters,
you.
yeah.
Because now the game is evolving. There's video analysis, my man. We'll be showing you things on screen.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at it, you get confused.
I mean, even just from a critical thinking aspects of it, being an athlete, there's a lot of critical thinking. In soccer, you need to, before you receive the ball, you need to think.
You already need to know what you're doing.
Where it's
Don't
going.
think on the ball.
And that also comes with the style of play.
100%.
How we playing? Are we attacking? Are we defending? Are we playing for possession? So that's critical thinking.
Yeah.
That's technical application into
100%.
the game itself.
Some of the smartest players that I've come across on the pitch.
Yep.
When I look at them and their marks, it makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, not so long ago we had Clinton Mphahlele. He's currently now one of the very few FIFA accredited agents in South Africa.
Oh, that's great.
He was playing at Tux.
Okay.
Then obviously post grad we called him in, like, come.
Yes.
2018 we fetched him, and then he was a golden key student.
Yep.
And then from there on, you could see his football IQ on the pitch, and then his academics made sense.
Iniesta.
And he for me at that moment I was like, this is what we must get.
Yes.
And immediately when he was done with his studies, he was like, and I'm gonna be an agent. I'm gonna go the law route.
Yeah.
And then that's him.
Yeah.
We had a Cal Lang from Kaizer Chiefs who came to us. He's also now a graduate. He's an alumni. Center back, IQ on another level.
Yeah.
So it's you see those things that you need to be smart and intelligent for the game right now.
100%.
And like I said, if you're not upskilling yourself, you're not doing anything, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
So football, or rather sports and academics, right now, I say it on this podcast, it must go hand in hand. There's no such thing as, if he's not doing well academically, it's fine, he'll excel in sports.
Yeah.
It must go hand
that's
in
important because, I mean, as a sportcast, that's our main objective, is to educate people, the public, about the different aspects of the game. That it's not just the players running in the field.
Yeah.
For example, you're a woman, right? You would tell them, can we go watch football? And the first thing that we would say is, I can't just watch people running into the field,
Yeah.
So we're just trying to educate the public, young people that are upcoming who want to study sports management but don't really understand what's it about. That there's a lot of careers within sports,
There's a lot.
It's
You
not
don't need to
limited.
even go sports management only. I mean, you can go the law route.
Yep.
And then you become a football agent.
Football, psychology,
You can go study psychology, become a sports psychologist. You
finance.
can go through finance and you are there. You know,
it's broad.
It's got everything. There's the business side of sport at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's not just on the field of play.
Yes.
There's the business side of sport. So you can, if you're great at accounting, go that route. As much as your passion is also sport, go that route. Then eventually you can find your way to get into the spaces in the sports industry with your relevant qualification.
100%.
It's broad, my brother. It's I don't know how to put it. It's just it's a world on its own.
Yeah.
Ronaldinho says it's a religion.
Yeah.
So it's just there's a lot of opportunities.
Yep.
But you need to be disciplined. You need to go out there. If you're a young sports management student and you're a young sports enthusiast, it's important that you grind now. The pain of regret is worse than the pain of discipline.
100%.
So do it now. You see the parting later.
Yeah.
Focus right now.
So as a soccer fanatic yourself,
Yeah.
Your top 5 best footballers South Africa has ever had, according to you?
I don't like those conversations. There's a lot, man. There's a lot. But I've always said my number one. The reason why
Let's start from.
I'll start with one.
Okay. Going up.
So my number one, I have to say, he is the reason why I'm in football. Like, he inspired. I wanted to play like him, but I couldn't play like him.
Yeah.
It's Ronaldinho Gaucho. For me, my era of growing up,
Magician.
He just made football look so simple. Yeah. And he entertained the crowd. Tell me of a player that Real Madrid has hailed after getting beaten by him. So for me, he changed my perspective in terms of football, and I think he's the only person I can be starstruck. I don't get starstruck.
He made it easy.
Yeah, I don't get starstruck. Anyone can pass by here. Just another person doing their job.
Yep.
But that man is just on another level.
Something else.
So that's one. And then 2, difficult, but I really appreciated Mesut also. Very different player. He's unique. A lot of people will criticize his defensive duties. I understand that. Yeah. But when you look at chances created, you look at his pinpoint passes, you look at the finish that he created.
The creativeness.
He's a magician for me. He's at another level. I know a lot of people will be like, you should be thinking of Messi and Ronaldo, but they are coming. For me, it's Mesut Ozil. I appreciate very much.
Underrated.
Yeah.
It's very underrated.
So he's just that unique player. And then if you go 3, definitely Messi. I don't need to debate about Messi. Everyone knows.
Yeah, no.
And then when you look at 4, the late Skarangobese.
Oh.
I'm moving away from Europe. The late
Black Jesus.
That for me, that was another player of note.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of to wrap it up, I would say myself, but people don't know me that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, to put it there 5th, it's a tough one.
Let's go locally.
I definitely locally. I have to say Themba Zwane.
Mshishi.
I have to say Themba Zwane. He's changed the game.
Yeah.
He's changed the game. You look at how everyone plays right now. You look at Kokasi. You'll understand what Themba Zwane's effect is.
Yeah.
You look at him. He's changed the game for me.
Because I think if I were to be a coach, I always believe on building a team with an individual or individuals. So, for example, if you look at Sundowns, you could tell without a Themba, it's different.
Yeah.
But when a Themba is there, as Sundowns plays, as Sundowns dominates, creates chances, So I hear what you're saying in terms of Themba Zwane, how he's changed the game, how he evolved the game, and just by him, how he reads the game, the flair, but the flair comes with a certain level of technique, adequate.
Effective.
Yeah.
He's effective. He doesn't just dribble, pass back, dribble, pass back. He's effective.
Yeah.
He's effective. So you can dribble. There's nothing wrong with dribbling.
Yes.
Especially when you're a forward. Not every attack you'll win you'll be successful, but it's that risk that you're willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I prefer such players. I get excited when I see such players.
100%.
I mean, I appreciate goalkeepers as well. I appreciate centre backs very much.
Yep.
Defenders very much. But also, your creative forwards are just something else. Without them, you won't get the goals.
Yep.
So a player like Tembazwane, like I said, I mean, they played with flair.
They did.
Oh,
yeah.
There was a social game that I played not so long ago, and Yeye and Teko were in the same team. I could tell that I'm not at that level. These people have retired, but when how they understand the game, I understand why they represented our country. Yeah. It's something else. They're talented and they worked hard for it. I also read The Curse of Teko Modise. I love reading football books as well. I'm currently reading Carlo Ancelotti, Quiet Leadership right now.
Okay.
And then I've read Sir Alex Ferguson. But The Curse of Teko Modise was another book that I really, really enjoyed. Maybe it's because I can understand it. Relate to it.
100%.
So it's when you listen to these people's stories,
it's intriguing.
It can actually inspire you to do more.
Yeah.
To do more.
So in wrapping up, what's upcoming in terms of your different portfolios?
Okay.
In terms of tournaments, what are you guys?
So right now, we're wrapping up the season for the men's teams, both SAB and ABC.
Yes.
Why do I say SAB? I played it way back. Yeah. It's now Hollywood Bets Regional League.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're wrapping up the season. We've got a couple of games left, and then we'll come to a break there. And then from there on, the preseason for varsity football starts. And then in terms of youth football, Engine tournament is our next big tournament.
Okay.
That's our under 18s there for the boys, and our under 20 for the females. So that tournament is taking place in July, I think the 18, 19, 20 July, that weekend. And then so those are the two big projects. So it's varsity football, both men and women, and then Engine for the youth setup. The women's Sasso League is currently ongoing.
Okay.
It just started. We're doing relatively well there.
Nice.
The plan is to win it.
Yes.
The plan is to win it.
That's amazing.
So we play and God decide, but you need to be best prepared. So the plan is to get into Hollywood Bets Women's League, and then so that's the current planning right now. And obviously World Elite University Football Tournament in China, but that's still on the boardroom table to go or not to go.
Yes.
Looking at the logistics, and then looking at
I hope it all goes well.
Yeah, I mean, we got invited for the first time in 2019.
Okay.
And fortunately or unfortunately, that time we didn't qualify for varsity football.
Oh, is it?
So during that period,
yep,
that's when we went to China.
Oh, nice.
And
just also in terms of learning and seeing how.
So it was it was the first time they invited. It's an African university.
Oh,
so it's a university that side.
Yes.
So you play against the German university, I think Tubener, and then China, and then there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then we were the first African university to be invited in 2019. We went there, and we went all the way to the final. We lost to the defending champions, which is the German university. So it was a good experience for the club. And great learning experience, and you're playing with students.
Yeah,
it's another thing. You're playing with people who are studying, and they're going there, you're going to compete. And it was, I think that group of players that we had then, it then 2020 robbed us because
a lot.
that year was the year I think we were supposed to dominate everything.
Yeah. All right. No, thank you so much, my brother, for coming through. I really, really appreciate you honoring the invite. This was amazing and a lot of insight taken in, and most importantly, education revolving sports as a whole. Now people know what the university does in terms of sporting fraternity. And thank you so much. I appreciate it, my brother.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I think the conversation could go way, way deeper, but I know
it does. There's a lot. There's a lot.
But the only way for people to experience, I think I'll keep on sharing whenever there's tournaments or whatever the case may be.
100%.
We can come down to the fields and just have the experience of being at Wits University, sport, and then also just experiencing the entire working structure. Maybe a day in the life of a coach, a day in the life of an SNC.
Yes.
So that we can then share the knowledge with people. I mean, I'm sharing it from my perspective, and then obviously my technical team will share it from a different perspective. But what we're doing is also something that's very, very great for our country.
Yeah.
And just to wrap it up, I always say, let's make educated athletes a norm and not an exception, as it is in our society.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. No, great stuff. Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, my brother.
Yes.